guys in just a few seconds to see who is going to be exactly on who. But I mean, Hoot in mid with a Shiv, a Mirage Shiv, man, that's painful. That is quite painful.
Yeah, and I mean, anytime you talk about Lightbringer, the general consensus has still been the meta has been more lane heavy, although, you know, trying to get an update this week was more of a, who really knows what the meta is right now? Apparently Abraham's was not scrimming as actively this week, so there's a little bit of, you know, cloud of secrecy over what the meta truly is. I'm not saying Abraham's is holding up, but just, you know, you don't have enough data for teams to really go through it the way that they normally would.
Oh, it is. Oh my gosh. It is going to be Obi. Wait, that can't be right. A Cosmetical Geist and Obi Kim Drifter and a Listic on Shiv? I did not think Cosmetical was going to be on Geist, like whatsoever.
Also, I thought this would be the case where Cosmetical would potentially be on Shiv and then Listic would play the Drifter, but, you know, in this case, I'm not even sure Buff and Jors had the full plan set up right before, but one thing is for sure, it hasn't been a fun lane for Overseas here thus far, again sparked up by Zergy. And I mean, now in terms of, you know, lane priority here, this is actually a pretty big HP debt to be in, you know, a little under 2 minutes into the game.
And just like if they ever get an afterburn on you, ever get the Stalker's Mark on you as well, it's quite painful here. And they're trying to go in before the cube actually is online, I believe, for Irazumi. Getting them both extremely low on HP, looking for the chase. I would imagine Overseas should be fun if they go for the dive. Obikin goes in deep. And it's just left Overseas by himself here, being caught out between two different players at his own tower.
Yeah, also, you know, lane pressures at prio when you start getting more headshot boosters being bought you by heroes that don't necessarily instantly, you know, rush early headhunter. It is one of the better items for early lane pressure. But yeah, in the laning phase alone, I mean, yeah, it's not just the Inferno's Drifter lane I've been looking at. It's kind of falling apart across the board. However, Zergy a little bit low as Irazumi rolls back in and cleans things up. But look, still comes at a cost, Jason.
Yeah, a very scary cost because Obi comes at 2.4. I'm actually doing a hop to him when we have time here to see if he's been building up stacks here. Actually didn't have it unlocked at the time, so only at 0, unfortunately, even with those kills coming on through. Heavy melee as well. Got that melee lifesteal, and he's doing some decent damage here. And he's going to back away to have Zergy to come on. Sorry, yeah, it is Zergy. I'm really not sure who's on who, I swear. Able to come back in and support him. And again, Overseas down low on HP. 1.5k souls. They are just under some massive pressure on this right-hand side. But maybe at the same time, the left-hand side for Leviathan is going relatively well. Both teams seeming to kind of win out on their weaker lanes.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, well, things look a little bit rough for Debuff here. That is a high HP Calco on Pursuit. No extra abilities even needing to be used. Simply run on down. So, you know, even Leviathan has gotten a kill or two here. It has come at a cost, more of a trade. Still,
in my head,
the 12k, it feels a little bit more ahead for Buff and Jors than it actually has been thus far.
For sure. I'm in agreement with that, especially when it comes to kills. I think it definitely is favoring Buff and Joyers. In my head, when Vrake was chased down that kill onto D-Mov, he was saying, this was for costing us Night Shift last week, as he finishes him off. Big dive coming in, though. We're going to catch out Vrake. I mean, under the Guardian, the minion wave is at their own tower right now, still looking for the damage to be done. Vrake's low on HP. Cosmetical's going for the chase, and he's getting the finisher over onto Fremont. Let's have one player. It's going to be D-Mob behind the tower. Goes in for the parry, but Cosmetical's here to be the brick wall that Vrake needs to survive. And Cosmetical's going to turn this into another kill, most likely.
Also, that was a bit brutal to watch as Fremont just ate like 4 light melees in a row with parry on cooldown. A bit painful, especially on Holiday, but also elsewhere in the map, Overseas is getting the business at the moment. Still, quick re-engage from the Holiday back in the lane, and Overseas actually able to pull it out of the fire, takes down Zergy, although Obikim still finishes it off in what has been an increasingly scrappy lane.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, what?
The spotter wasn't even on him. He was so high above that.
Also, I mean, that given the life that Irazumi is at, I feel like going for the Ren there was a little bit ambitious from Obikim. But we got buffs coming on up. Buffs to be contested. Time wall in. And a quick buff take from Fargareco. But in a bit of a damage penalty for it as Zergy coming in behind. The cube maybe will stymie the pursuit. As Zergy right now get a face full of Billy. And this is turning into a big ruckus here in middle as Zergy continually getting pummeled from all sides. Finally going down the Overseas.
Who was there to reinforce? So it's Listic with the Shiv, looking for the chase down here. He gets a parry. onto Overseas, who gets locked down for a bit of time, but the support of Psy will still be there. It looks like they will back away, but in the meantime, the blood keeps on dripping on the floor here on the left-hand side as they get the dive over on a Demov in his side of the jungle, I believe near the Sinners. And they might have themselves a Guardian here as well on the left-hand side with the pressure being applied. Even one in towards the middle. This is going to be a big jump up in souls here right now, ZP, for Buff Enjoyers.
Yep, Buff Enjoyers is about to get mid Guardian. Also open up the map a little bit more. Should look like want to do a bit more run, but instead just throw a knife into the back of Fargareko. Gonna eat a carbine for the trouble and a lot more of the time bomb than expected. Going back for the support elsewhere in the map. Obikim takes down Fremok in what has been the bloodiest lane by far.
They actually rotate over to the left-hand side to go for the aggression. They get to kill the Fremok. They get the Guardian down as well. They open up. It's only a 2k lead in souls, but again, it still feels way more than that right now. Obikim has to be at building up stacks now, as he was previously at 0. The counter pressure coming on through. It's just going to be Fargareko by himself, though, so he has to escape this one, but some clean movement to bounce off that wall. Creates the distance he needs to survive, though. Hoot might not have agreed to it as he's just dove completely behind the tower, looking for 2 kills.
Both teams looking for an edge in laning phase. Buff Enjoyers, the ones walking away with the bigger edge here so far. A 5k lead now opening up, though a lot of that is just some of the lane souls given by the Guardians. Last one on the map. Quick teleport by Obikim. Is this going to be a full rotation off to the right with mid lane Guardian down? You know, you can leave Hoot there for a bit of farm and open up Listic for a bit of rotation. And yeah, Jason, this is like looking like a full-on dog pile into the right lane. Stalker's Mark get a hit as Fremok goes down the half, and it's not ending there.
Gets cubed in the room. Should be no escape for Fremok. Goes down. 2 kills coming on through. +6 now for Obikim, and maybe a 3rd kill to be had as Overseas is looking to escape. The Ren comes on through and Overseas will fall. Another kill happening. +9 now for Obikim, and that tower will fall as well. That 5k lead is going to transition to about 7k as we're hitting almost the 8-minute mark in this game. And it's starting to not necessarily get out of hand, but this is, I think, the real power of the snowball potentially coming the way here for Buff Enjoyers. If they keep this momentum up and just choke out the income out of Leviathan, there's really not much they can do.
Obikim may misjudged that one. About to get splattered to pieces. Wait, still got Fargareko! What? Fargareko goes a little bit deep when Irizumi could have finished it off. Oh boy, Obikim got away with thievery on that one.
Bro, Obikim has just been unleashed, it feels like. Like with Apollo, with Drifter now, no longer being forced to play like more of these like pure support kind of heroes. 7.7k on Drake. We haven't talked too much about him just yet, but he is currently the sole leader in this lobby, being gifted some mid lane farms, some Sinners to be taken, some enemy jungle as well. But Overseas gets the kill into Zergy. That was actually the use of Chain Gang and pretty much his whole kit here. He might get some pressure onto this Walker, but they're going to have pressure other places pushed against them here by Buff Enjoyers.
Also on the map, Obikim bringing a sun bout of darkness. Fargareko inside. In the back off for a moment, and looking at pushes on the map. Cosmetical just going to be pushing up on the left versus Demov. Relatively even between the two, and okay, Fargareko takes down Obikim as the darkness gets cloned the other way. Buff Enjoyers gonna taste their own medicine. Looks like though still in plenty of good HP. Looking for Viscous on the other side, gonna slide on down and go the long melee into the parry. I'm not sure that's enough to get Irizumi out of danger, and no, it is not.
I feel like I've seen the script before at Listic, just heavy meleeing into an obvious parry. I don't know if people remember that from a few shifts ago, but it doesn't matter. He gets the kill. Maybe the chase down to Sai, but I think Sai might just be a little bit too slippery. There's another knife up yet again here. He is taken away quite low. 1 or 2 more hits would be enough to finish him off. The tick gonna come through.
I think the knife hit.
And he just survives.
Did it?
1 more tick would have been enough. 1 more blade in his back. But it forces him back to base. And again, just this raw aggression. It feels like ZP out of Buff Enjoyers. They feel confident enough to fight with this tempo and win out on most of these engagements.
The interesting thing for the amount of kills Obikim has been on, Obikim is far more poor than I would have expected. Just taking account on who's been benefiting here so far. Certainly Cosmetical benefiting from survival buff, but Obikim only at 6.6. Vrake, the one runaway economically here so far. Cube is not going to be enough to save. The big pursuit coming in here from Buff Enjoyers as Hoot is able to take down Fargareko.
I'm liking this Calico pick with urns too. The amount of boxes you can take with how quick you can get across the map and the souls you can accumulate, I feel like you get extremely far ahead on Calico without having to take much farm in these direct lanes. And Vrake's gonna be able to. What? The urn's. How does Ava hold that urn? Ava's like riding the urn across the map. Gets to turn in 10k souls now for Vrake. Can we take a look at player damage? I'm curious because Vrake with most souls. I'm curious where on damage he is so far in this lobby. Yeah, he used to be extremely low at 4k, but I feel like he's assisting in a lot of these ganks, especially with the cold front coming on through the spirit snatch, and he's just building up a massive pool of economy.
Obakim at 9.9k does not surprise me at all. We're just from the eye test. It's like Obakim has been involved in the vast majority of these fights, and I mean honestly, I think part of the benefit of Drifter right now is that you do get the ability to apply that level of pressure. Soul exchange going in on the overseas, still bit of pressure on the cosmetical. Goes in for the melee instead, finds a parry. Freemock, he'll finish it off. Listic though, on the backup, finishes off overseas in the end, and now Sif Freemock has the moves to escape. You talk about movement versus movement. Shiv versus Holiday, knife into the back here so far, goes for the parry, does not connect, and the killing blow gonna seal Freemock's fate.
Oh, don't tell me to get D-Mob as well. The cube comes on through, but Listic still has the killing blow. And here's Obakim as well. Listic gets that kill. That's 3 on this engagement now for him. He's up to 11,000 souls. The lead's grown to 7k. There's no lane shoving against them either. This is a big fight here for Buff and Joyers, and Leviathan just cannot afford to lose much more than this. The chain gang's coming out of overseas, but realistically, what is he going to get from this one? Maybe a return back to spawn. It looks like Buff and Joyers will hold back, take their foot off the pedal. Break will be the only one to fall, but I believe they picked up 4 kills, ZP.
Also, both teams dumping the respective ult bank right before Rift is coming up soon. Obakim, though, no real escape path there. Only thing to do is try and get a little bit more damage off of Freemock. Freemock, no lasso in reserve, but just throwing out some barrels. Again, both teams well aware that first Rift is coming on up soon. It's going to be on the left side where things are going. Domini out, chase down on the cosmetical. No soul exchange at the ready. Just needs a little bit more damage. The crossbow's put away, but the damage still comes in furious here from D-Mob. But now D-Mob needs to look for the escape as Listic in to finish off what was started. On top of the Calico, D-Mob is all sorts of dead.
Just you're not escaping a Calico and a Shiv as a vendor there. Like you'd have to hit the world's greatest gut shot and then have the cleanest movement ever. So much mobility for these two heroes. And now they're with the Rift trying to be taken by Leviathan. They do get a kill on the hoop. They've overcommitted and shown their hand on the right hand side, meaning they can't defend this Rift anymore. Well, also have Irazumi pushing mid, looking for some damage onto this Walker. They actually might get some damage on the right lane Walker, so maybe an overcommit of Buff and Joyers here to go for this Rift.
Well, at least in retrospect, where you lose 2 people on the right that are supposed to defend. Yes, you've gotten the Rift, but you're about to take some serious damage on the right Walker. I don't think Leviathan is sad about this at all, because in fact, you know, for Buff and Joyers, they're going to be able to defend, but between the two teams, I think Buff and Joyers actually ends up negative on the Walker damage there in the end. So really solid play coming out from Leviathan to pick up some free kills on the right side and make that far smoother.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of one of the most frustrating things about that Rift too. I think Leviathan made a very smart play by pulling Buff and Joyers into that position, but then they kind of overwhelming them in the other lanes to look for that damage. It's a shame they didn't get the Walker down. That would have been obviously the best case scenario. Maybe a little bit of a chase now on Irazumi. Overseas going to be here to support. Catches Obakim, the Rising Ram, and Obakim, he should be falling from this one. Not really a chance to escape this one. He gets it locked in the hallway with the goo ball and a goat.
I think Obakim unbound the S key for this entire game. See if Overseas goes down, the knife just ticks away. But Obakim, have you noticed that the entire Obakim strategy has been throw hands no matter what? It's just like walk forward, and if Obakim dies, he dies. It still opens up opportunities for the rest of his team. I mean, you think there, Obakim was the first one to go in, ends up falling from the focus fire. Buff and Joyers grabs a Walker and multiple kills in turn. I mean, the kamikaze Drifter is kind of working out.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, they also defended mid, though it did take a lot of damage. Who had to travel over to defend against, was that Psy? And then eventually picked up the kill too. But we've also now transitioned into a 10k lead for Buff and Joyers at about 15-minute mark. And Vrake is... Oh no, Vrake's looking for Freemock. He's in enemy territory. He's gone deep. Freemock does have Lassa, but we'll expect the cat. Or does the cat not even fight? Okay.
I don't think you take this fight just yet. Obakim Oh, one way to potentially throw some hands. Grabs the and immediately running into Overseas, where I feel like it has been Drifter versus Billy the entire time, and this time Obikim goes down. Seek out fights repeatedly. Now, does this turn out to a trade in favor of Buff Enjoyers? Drake goes in, catches a lasso for the trouble, and the immediate follow-through is there. So the scrappy nature that Buff Enjoyers have been employing, backfiring a little bit, although Listic comes in, finds Freemock. And the Shiv has been really the big issue here, Jason, because even if it starts out with a Drifter death, Listic is there as a cleanup crew.
It just doesn't feel like Listic's killable with the way he's been playing. With the support he has out of Rake, rotating in as like a two-man squad. He's been playing it extremely clean. Radiant Regeneration picked up. Heal Bane on top of that. Resto shot. He's got a lot of survivability here. Combustion coming on through at a Zergy to get the stun up over on a Fargarek when it does land. Got one, almost two blades ready to go. Takes it into Fargarek, who should be falling from this one. One more tick. There he goes. And let's see with the Heal Bane proc. Extra 275 HP. And again, just gets away. Oh, okay, maybe not. Here, Dominic, coming on through.
I'm hearing crossbow shots go off. The might of the Lord bearing down on Listic, but you still got the Shiv movement. You got plenty of ways to rotate yourself out of danger, and the crossbow not going to be enough. Where, you know, the best way to describe what we've seen this game, Jason, it's been a lot of aggression at Buff Enjoyers, and, you know, it's aggression in a way where it's not afraid to sacrifice either Obikim or Vrake. Like, can we get a total death counter in the game? Because I feel like Obikim, on top of having maybe the most damage still, also certainly has to have the most deaths. Yeah, you know, look at Obikim relative to the rest of Buff Enjoyers here. The actual strategy here is, you know, feed Drifter scraps, have Drifter, like, run into the other team, die, but off the opportunity Obikim creates, the rest of Buff Enjoyers comes in and actually benefits.
Good kill comes on through, takes down who? And a great Rising Red catches out Vrake, who should fall from this too. This is a big turnaround for Leviathan, and we're down and are still down 10k. Souls. Rotation towards middle. Oh, they're gonna go for mid boss. I don't know, man. Listic 17k. He's got Killian blow up. They got cosmetical there as well. Eternal Darkness almost ready. Zergy doesn't have combustion. The amount of AoE damage that Buff Enjoyers can do in this position is extremely deadly once they start getting this poke on through. And you can see Leviathan might have bitten off more than they can chew. The crystal's coming on down here, ZP, and we have the engage out of Buff Enjoyers.
We'll see. The fight is underway. The crystal is down. Obikim picks up the first rejuice. Cosmetic on the second, and Listic on the grabs it towards the end. Fremont gets one crystal, but overall, Buff Enjoyers, they get a quality engagement. Sinclair, not a problem. Chain Gang, not a problem. And Buff Enjoyers, even down two, they wipe the floor with Leviathan by the end of it and get to walk away with one crystal on top.
It honestly felt like they had way too much damage there, man. AoE from Cosmetical, the Listic slicing on through, Zergy coming on through with the connections. I mean, they're still fighting. They still have one crystal left. Overseas finally goes down. In the end, it's basically a full team wipe coming on through for Buff Enjoyers. They sport now a 17k lead. And who, in the meantime, he's just been cleaning up these walkers, man. This right one's going to fall. Left and mid is already fallen. And Buff Enjoyers are in the driver's seat to get that rematch against Abrahams.
I mean, Hoot has been the more sane person at Buff Enjoyers of, okay, I'm going to avoid some of these fights, regularly push waves, maybe run into a bit of trouble here, but you know, you have a decent amount of farm. You're not the easiest to take down. Fargareco now just getting jumped by 3 on all sides. The rest of Leviathan in a retreat as Buff Enjoyers holds W, goes forward, and is Irezumi going to be able to find a way out? It's looking unlikely. Listic finishes off and just gets to walk forward as the nearly immortal Shiv at this point.
Yeah, I'd say it. You know what? He's pretty damn immortal. Has Listic died? Actually, I don't remember the death counter that we have. It doesn't feel like he's died often, if he's died at all.
Maybe once or twice at the most. Rejuve gonna go to the wayside, and well, if he had died, that may have been the first death there. The caster curse in process, but Overseas will likely be giving his life for it here. Cosmetical on pursuit, needs one more shot, gonna land it. Elsewhere, Obikim taking down D-Mob. The Rift, by the way, about to just disappear, and yeah, disappears into a cloud of souls. The contest going on all the while.
I have not forgotten what you did.
In the end, though, Jason, you look at the state of the game. Buffenjoyer is now up 25k souls, and you know it's not just one specific moment. It's a lot of small skirmishes that have gone their way, which is kind of interesting because you think about the team comps here. Leviathan with double pick, you would have thought would have had more of the edge in like setting up the small skirmishes, but I don't know if it was accounted for of Obikim just recklessly throwing himself into every fight.
The thing is, they dominated that right lane, I want to say, because they destroyed Overseas and Irizumi quite a bit. Even though Overseas is still sitting at, you know, second highest net worth in his team, it doesn't feel like he's going to be naturally that tanky anymore. Because Cosmetical's been given a solo to farm, Zergi's been gifted a solo to farm. I think even Hoot has as well. While Vrake, Obikim, and Listic act as like a 3-man hit squad around the map. And at the moment, the urn is in the hands of Vrake. Sai has gone down to Obikim as another fight. It's gonna be breaking off course. I mean, we're not gonna end these fights ever as Listic's trying to take on Overseas. And he's gonna have support here in just a few seconds out of Hoot.
Overseas, there's a limit to what can be done at this level of stat differential, where, by the way, even though Buffenjoyer is now starting to run away with it, as Listic picks up an easy 2, maybe about to get third. Overseas has been the reason why Leviathan has been in this game to begin with. Just really strong Billy play. Oftentimes the one person that, you know, makes fights a trade or, you know, creates a little bit of an opportunity for Leviathan. But at the sole difference we have right now, it's kind of amplified some of the things we've seen from the beginning of the game, where now Obikim can legitimately dive 1v2 and actually come out with a kill and live. And is there gonna be teleport here on the Fremont? Like, how thirsty is Obikim right now?
Oh, he doesn't have an S key, remember? I think he's pretty thirsty. Yeah. That'd actually be funny if he legitimately did unbind that key and he has to only hold forward. And to go backwards, he has to just turn his camera.
Training exercise by Lightbringer, where it's like, you know, remove the S key or the belt.
Just like Goku with weights, you know, just trains with weights, and then when he takes them off, oh my god, no one can stop him.
The one thing I'll say here, Jason, is that as we get a little bit later in the game, oh my goodness,
do it.
The long range,
do it.
You never know. Like, how hungry is Drifter? Just look at the mini map. Is there gonna be a teleport? Maybe not this time. I mean, Leviathan with double pick, they still have ways of getting picks and like getting back into this game, but it's just you're under so much pressure. They don't really have the ability to, you know, slow play it and look for setups. Instead, it's constantly Buffenjoyers looking for opportunities, and the burst damage onto Sai, a little bit unreal.
Those gloom bombs, oh my lord! With bomb is picked up for Vrake as well. That's scary, man. Obviously, you're supposed to be very slippery as a Sinclair, but if you don't expect an Ava to just pounce at you like that, you can say goodbye to 3/4 of your HP. But the farm continues, and we have mid boss in 2 minutes, buff in 2 minutes. Really, there seems to be no sense of urgency right now in Buffenjoyers to look for any pushes anywhere. I would imagine, again, it's going to come down to the objectives. And I don't think Urn necessarily is an objective anymore that you can use to team fight. It's all about the unstable Rift or mid boss. And I believe we still have quite a bit of time for the next Rift.
Margareco dying here would be rough. I mean, the thing for Leviathan, if they're able to avoid pickoffs like this, I still think there's a world where they get back into this game. I mean, D-Mob is actually pretty competitive on farm at this point, and you still have like big threats in terms of opening up fights between both Fremont and Fargareco. The problem that's been is that Buffenjoyers is in a state of hyper aggro where it is continually Obikim and Vrake looking for engagements. You're still under the passive pressure of Hoot just continually shoving lanes. Like, the lane setup of the game here, Jason, has been so much in favor of Buffenjoyers, especially like the last 10 minutes, that, yeah, Leviathan, they don't have a lot of map to work with at this point.
Yeah. It honestly feels like they're just going to continue to fall farther and farther behind. And once we get these next objectives, like for instance mid-boss, if they have to come out to fight, I mean, they're already going to be scared as it is to leave their base. Then they have to be scared, is it just a bait with the scream, or are they finishing it? If they are finishing it, well, then you're running into like very tight corridors where combustion can take you out. But you talked about Leviathan having a chance with the picks here. They do get the lasso onto one. It's going to be Obikim, just sits in the closet while the rest of the team isn't going to be there to support him. And they do get the early kill.
Ooh.
And now it comes down to what can they get from this kill.
Also, the setup for that was quite nice. They did the cloned Eternal Night on top of it to buy a little bit of cover. So they get 35 seconds of the power play. down ults wise. They use Lasso, they use Iridamini, maybe one to get the Iridamini back, but